Hello, hello, lovely to have you here. In today's video, what I want to discuss is cultivating faith or confidence or conviction in our practice. In early Buddhism, one of the key factors for progress along the path was given by the Pali word saddha. And there are many translations of this word. One of the translations is faith, although it's not, as we'll see, it's not a blind faith, but it's rather something more akin to, we might say, conviction, basically a positive mental attitude that affords us energy and diligence in our practice. And it's opposed to doubt. And what the question for today's video is basically how we cultivate this confidence, this determination in our practice, overcoming that kind of doubt. I got a viewer question a while back on this topic about how we might go about cultivating this kind of confidence or faith in practice in the path. By the way, if you have questions, please always feel free to leave them down below in the comments. If I've done a video on that question already, I'll try to remember it and give it to you. Otherwise, I'll put it on my list and see if I'm able to, I will do a video on it. So in any event, that's the question, is how we cultivate this kind of faith in practice. Now, in early Buddhism, to my knowledge, the Buddha never directly answers this question. However, he answers, we might say, or he or other people in his community answer related questions. In particular, when it comes to our practice, one of the goals, the first goals that we're supposed to reach in early Buddhism, is the goal of what's called stream entry, where we, it's said, overcome all of our doubts. We overcome our doubts in our practice, in the path, and the question is then how we're supposed to go about overcoming these doubts. In overcoming these doubts, of course, we're going to be doing the opposite, which is to generate confidence in the path that we're on. In one early sutta, Sāriputta, who is the Buddha's right-hand disciple, the premier in wisdom, tackles this question about the factors of stream entry. Now, again, this doesn't directly answer the question about faith, but I think each of these factors of stream entry is indeed directly associated with overcoming our doubts and, in so doing, increasing our confidence in the path. So, what does Sāriputta say? He says, the factors of stream entry are associating with good people, listening to the true teaching, proper attention, and practicing in line with the teaching. Now, these are relatively straightforward, but I want to go through each of them in a little detail to sort of bring out the nuances here. When it comes to the first about associating with the good people, the idea is the good people are those who are already confident in the work that they're doing. They're confident in the path of practice. So if we ourselves want to become confident, it's better to associate, that is to say, spend time with, people who already have that confidence, so that we can see it in them, so that we can learn from them. Second, we of course need to listen to the Dharma. We need to learn it. Now, the Dharma is not so very complicated. There are parts of it that are complicated, that are more, let's say, advanced. But in its total, it is a relatively clear and concise and lucid teaching. However, it does have its nuances, and so learning can be extremely useful. And in particular, some of those nuances trip people up. They confuse people. One perfect example of this being this question about whether the Buddha said that there was absolutely no self at all. That's the sort of thing that confuses a lot of people, that concerns them, that makes them doubt and become skeptical about the teaching. And this is something I've done any number of videos about. I'll leave a link to a playlist down below in the notes. And indeed, this is where I see my role coming. That is to say, that it's these videos of mine that I hope can be helpful in giving a picture of the Dharma of, in particular, of early Buddhism, as much as I can glean from it and get it across to you and make it clear. And in that clarity comes, I think, confidence. Because if we are unclear about the teaching, we are to that degree not going to have so much confidence in it. We're not going to really feel we understand it. It may seem foreign to us in some sense. So it's important to overcome these kinds of doubts directly, through understanding, through listening. Third, and this is closely related to the second, we have to pay close or proper attention to the teachings. In other words, it's not enough just to, put the Dharma book under our pillow at night and expect the words to come through by a kind of osmosis. Instead, we really have to pay attention and come back with our questions, with our concerns. That is a way that we can really interact with the teachings rather than simply letting them go in one ear and out the other. And once again, my hope is that I can be of help with these videos and with comments and questions and work that I'm doing on Patreon and through my courses over at the Online Dharma Institute, putting out a lot of information that can help you to confront these teachings in a deeper way. I obviously cannot lead you in the same way that a local meditation and Dharma teacher can. Somebody local to you will be much more familiar with your own particular circumstance and be able to help you more in your own particular journey. But in the broader journey, I hope that I can be of help in clearing up these kinds of confusions. And fourth, we actually have to apply the teachings into our practice day by day. That is, it's not enough just to learn about ethics. We actually have to attempt to put them into practice by performing right actions, right speech, right thought. It's not enough simply to learn about meditation. We actually should meditate on a regular basis, perhaps every day for a certain period of time. And these practices will then lead to a deeper sort of wisdom if they're given time and practice to do. Now, the intensity of our practice is going to depend upon how much time and diligence we have to put to the practice. Well, I would submit that probably you are a layperson. I imagine I have some monastics as well. Monastics will have more time to devote to the practice. Lay people will have less time, and that's only natural and normal. And we should not beat ourselves up for having only as much time as we can afford to put to the practice. Whatever time we can put is good. And meanwhile, we're not expected to be perfect at any of this. If we were perfect, we wouldn't need to practice. That's the whole point. So we're going to make mistakes. We're going to make mistakes in our dealings with other people, in our ethics, in our actions, in our behavior. We're going to make mistakes in what we say at times. We're certainly going to make mistakes in how we think. It's just normal. We're going to make mistakes in how we meditate. I mean, there actually are in early Buddhism ways of understanding meditation that certain ways are correct and other ways are not so helpful. For example, if we pass our time on the cushion simply daydreaming, as I do from time to time, that's not so helpful. But we shouldn't beat ourselves up about this. This is part of what practice is all about. Following these 4 tips that Sāriputta gives us should lead to a cultivation of confidence or faith in our practice and in the Dharma. It'll do this, I submit, by showing us the advantages, the benefits that come from that practice. These benefits, these advantages will be manifest over time. Through our practice, we'll find, I would submit, if you're anything like me, you'll find benefits and advantages. And it's those benefits that themselves will lead to the cultivation of confidence. Because without such benefits, if we do the practice and find no benefit in it for us, then of course we have no reason for confidence. We have no reason for faith. And indeed, if we don't find benefit, we should give up the practice, or at least set it aside for a time. Maybe it's not the right time in our lives for it. We can always come back to it later. So, if you want to learn more about the whole idea of faith in early Buddhism, I did a video on that. It's rather a nuanced kind of topic, and I'll leave a link to that video up here on the screen. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to help support the channel and the work that we're doing here, take a look over at my Patreon page, which is linked down below and here, I should say right over here and down below in the notes, and hope to see you over there. Thanks so much, and we'll catch you on the next video, and meanwhile, all of you, be well.